Hello guys, it is Christina at Scrapcraft and Stitchery, and welcome to my channel today. I have a really exciting remake of this video. Today I was going to make a junk journal, and here's my plan. I have this box and I'm going to use this for a cover, and I'm going to cover it in this great paper. Great for a junk journal because I think everybody gets this in the mail when you get your Amazon packages or packages from other places. And I get super excited when I find all this great just brown paper in the background. I have a lot of these Lego boxes because I have a Block Tech aficionado that I live with, and I am benefiting by getting all these great boxes, and I've been using them to make journals, and it's pretty exciting for me. I love that I get so excited about, like, oh, look, some trash. So that's what I'm up to today, and I hope you'll join me at my art studio desk here. See if we can get this going. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up this box, and then I'm going to deconstruct this box, and it's just glued here. And you can generally, I won't worry too much if I ruin this because I'm just going to cut this off anyway. These are kind of nice and can be reused for making other things, or spine reinforcements. I just made one of these and it had an uncovered spine, and I might do a hidden spine on this one just to kind of do something a little bit different. These boxes are a great size because I like using this as the spine, and I don't have to worry about reattaching another spine. So basically this is going to be 9 inches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a good size for a journal is 9 by 6, and that gives us, basically, if we fold an 8.5 by 11 inch paper, if you're in the US, in half, it'll fit very nicely inside a 9 by 6 inch journal. So I'm going to cut this, and then this side I'm going to trim off the top and the bottom and trim this to 6 inches. But I'm going to start, just because it's easy, by aligning this on the line where it's going to fold for the spine. Oh dear, now I've lost my ruler. It's buried. Okay, got the ruler. It's right here. I got rid of it because I was like, oh, this will be dangerous. All right, we're in business. We are in business. I am working on being more organized, but sometimes getting in there and crafting and playing kind of gets in the way until we can't do that anymore. Okay, keep these because we're gonna make a reinforced spine with this. So I'm actually going to not a reinforced spine, a hidden spine. We're gonna make a hidden spine, so we'll attach the signatures in our junk journal to this. So what I am going to do right now, I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter than, so that it'll fit inside there and the book will still close. I might just cheat and make this as wide as my ruler. Why make life difficult on ourselves, right? This is Graham. He is helping today because he likes to help. I'm actually invading his, David, because he likes to sit in front of this window and look down. at the outside. There you go. That's great. The only problem I'm going to have is I'll have to put my signatures in there. And that's plenty of room. That's that. Now we have to convince Graham to get off. Oh, sweet baby. Oh, sweet baby boy. Yes. I'm going to put you downstairs. I'm going to close the door so you can't come back up here. That's what I'm going to do. I know you just want some love and attention and a sunny window to sit in. You can go find a sunny window someplace else. You're cleaning your beans. Oh, look at that. Look, he's got the bean spread. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay, Graham. I'm going to get rid of the cat. I will be right back. All right, friends, I am back. Graham went downstairs. He can hang out with his buddies down there. So I've cut this to 6 inches. I have this. We will put this aside. We will use that in a minute. And we are going to make a cover for this book. So we need to cut off the flaps at the top and the bottom of our book. Boxes are great for this. Another thing you can use is sometimes I make these out of an old book that I've gutted. Old books are great. You can also maybe find hardcover books at the dollar store maybe. I should go over there and look and see what you can find. You don't have to feel too terrible about cutting up a great old book if you get one at the dollar store. Oh, okay. Didn't cut all the way through there. Okay. I'm sure my hand is probably in the way since I'm kind of at an awkward angle here. Okay. Let's throw these things away as we go along so we don't have too much mess to clean up at the end, right? Because I'm trying to get better at that. That's kind of in the way and I could cut it off, but I'm going to cut that down and that should take care of that problem. But it's just going to be kind of a problem to hold that down. All right. Here we go. And here I'm just lining this up along where these tabs at the top bend. And I have this set up in the wrong direction. Okay. Just keeping that right up against the ruler so it makes a nice straight cut. And we have this, we can save that for later. I'm going to get rid of that little piece because I can't imagine what I would use that for. Although, I mean, if I sat down and thought about it, I'd probably find something. But we have lots of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, right there. Measure twice and cut once. And I'm going to do it on this side again because I'm left-handed and I want to use that as a, I'm going to use my left hand to use the box cutter this time and not show off how ambidextrous I am. That's much easier. Okay, so that's that. We have this little bit. I might keep this. These are actually kind of cool for using mark making things. I'm gonna put this and this aside in a box and this. And I still have that, which I said we were gonna use to make our hidden spine. So I keep these because it's gonna be useful later for something else. And I have a box over here that I just throw those things into. So they're all in one place and I can find them when I want them. This is great. So we're going to cover this and we're going to glue it in here after we attach the signatures to it, and that's how we're going to do this. And I cut it so that it's not in this fold. So when we make this book, and I'm just going to kind of fold this and start to get it a little bit really, so it's going to fold really nicely when it becomes the cover of our book, and it'll close up nicely. See? Even after we add a lot of stuff in here. Okay, so this is what we have, and I do like to peel these off. It's got this like piece of tape to hold the box closed, because you wouldn't want all your mega blocks to escape, but I don't want that on there because I don't want my I want my glue to stick there. I don't even need glue. So now we have that. Let's put this aside. All right. Okay. And let's work on the cover that we're going to use to cover this up. Let's get that out of the way. So what I have is this packing paper. Came in a box that we had delivered. I already used a piece of this. So this is what I have. And this is actually folding very nicely along here. There's a perforation in this. There's a perforation here too. So I think we're going to have to use that. I sometimes just spread these out if I'm painting or something. I spread these out on my work surface to kind of cover things. I actually have one over here that I had sprayed some ink on. Very similar idea, and you can see where I sprayed some ink on here and then kind of caught this, and this is like a really interesting piece. And you can use this as well to cover your book. That piece is maybe wide enough to cover this whole book. I am not going to use this piece. I'm going to use this piece today because it's big and it'll like it. Just get so excited about this. What I do want to do is back this. I want to put a piece of paper or a couple pieces of paper or something underneath this because it is perforated here, and I want to be able to hold that together. I don't want it to like come apart later when it's on my book. And then I'm probably going to do some collage on top. So this will be like the back side. And on the back side, I'm going to just put some reinforcing paper or something on there so that it just gives it a little bit extra thickness to kind of hold everything together. And I'm going to see if I can find some maybe 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper that I've printed that I'm not going to use for anything, just some office printer stuff, because I'm always having some extra things. I think this will probably work. I can find all these things online. Use this. I haven't accessed this for a long time. I think we'll probably not be going back to reference this, or I can probably find it online again if I needed to. Alright, so I'm just gonna put these down. You can use whatever kind of scraps. You could use another sheet of this. You could fold this in half. Whatever you have. And I think that we can kind of overlay this a little bit, and that should make plenty of room to make a space, reinforce this, and then also kind of tell us where we want to cut this, I guess. So let's do that. I had problems with my camera cutting off yesterday. I want to make sure that doesn't happen again today. Because we are multitasking here. Okay. I like the fact that this paper is kind of crinkled and it looks used. I think that that's going to be really nice and kind of give this journal a nice look and a nice feel. And we're going to kind of work with that crinkliness. It's a great thing about junk journals is they really can be very tactile. Have very nice feels to them. It's very nice to be able to touch them and listen to the paper as it crinkles, and it's got a nice crunchiness to it. And so I think this is really a good thing. And again, I'm just putting these papers on here. I want to reinforce this. This is going to be like glued to the book itself, so you won't see this when this is all done. This is really just to kind of give us an extra layer so that we don't have to worry about that perforation getting ripped and torn off or anything like that. Is what I'm after here. And I'm going to lay these two things. This will be like kind of where the spine is, and that's going to need, it'll give it a little bit of extra support. There, we won't really need that so much since we're going to glue the signatures in with that hidden spine. All right. There's a lot of different ways you can make books and a lot of different bindings you can use. And I think the most common one that people use is to do a pamphlet stitch and sew each signature in separately. Another way is a Coptic binding. And then you can decorate if you have like an exposed pamphlet stitch. You could add beads or something to the outside of the book that make it really pretty. But I'm just going to show you the pamphlet stitch, but I will show you a little bit fancier technique where we're going to do this. And now is what I'm going to do is basically this will be what I want to kind of take this and fold this in and attach that to the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this rest of this paper to this size right now. And I will probably keep the rest of this to put on the inside of the book. Okay. Just to keep things simple, but you can always use something else as well. So I'm just going to cut this with scissors today and cut right along here because that'll give me plenty of overlap. You just want to make sure that you have enough, about like, you don't even need that much, like as we're going to have here. You could cut it smaller, and I've certainly used an 8.5 by 11 sheet to cover the front and the back of the book. Just coming along and making some creative decisions about what I want to do today. So now that I have that, this is the part you're not going to see because that's going to be the inside of the cover, and this is going to be the outside that we are going to see. And this one is really super wrinkly. I didn't straighten that out too much. I'm a little concerned about this, actually, because it is so loose there. Well, we're going to go with it because I don't know if I can do anything about it now. I'm going to just decorate this a little bit now. And actually, I'm going to wait and decorate this after I put it onto here. So let's go ahead and put this onto the book. And the reason I'm thinking that is I think it'll be cool. I made one of these yesterday, and I can show it to you. The one I made yesterday, I think it came out really super cute, and I did use like this same backing. I reinforced it. I think at this stage I did the decorating on the front and the back, and I think it was just a little bit problematic to get things to align right exactly where I wanted. I would have actually probably put a lot of this down in this corner more, and then I found this piece of paper and I was able to kind of string it across. But let's learn from yesterday, and I'm going to suggest today, and this is fine, it's all a learning fun practice in making these. I'm going to put this paper on here first, then I'm going to decorate this. And that's going to allow me to place things a little bit more easily, like where I want them to be. Okay. That is my theory here today. So I am going to just glue this down, and I'm just going to use this glue stick. I do sometimes make books, and I do sometimes use like some bookbinding glue that I really like. People use Fabrifix. The thing with Fabrifix that's nice is it doesn't wrinkle your paper as much because it's silicone glue. The bookbinding glue is, I believe, like a water-based glue, so it will wrinkle things a little bit more. Glue is important. It's one of the things I would suggest kind of finding the glue and just being okay for junk journaling with the fact that you're going to pay a little bit extra for some nice glue, because it's one of the things that's going to make your life easier. Great. Stick this all down firmly. To there. All right. Always kind of nice at this stage to bend this, work it on, make sure that's going to work. Okay. All those parts of the book that are going to bend, we're going to want them to bend, and we're going to want them to not wrinkle, right, as we open and close the book. So just get that really stuck down where you want it, and work it in a little bit. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over all of the corners and get a nice fold. And I think that gives it kind of a nice, almost rounded edge on these. Maybe not quite like you can see here with this other book. This is great that I have this. It makes a nice, really good corner to like do it this way. And this is how I like to do it. So I am going to fold that down. I'm just going to put some glue right on the corner and glue the corners down first. And again, just kind of working this in so that everything's kind of sitting the way that I want. That's folded up that way so it's not going to make any weird wrinkles when I fold the top and the bottom over. So again, we're doing this and this. Okay. Get the glue on there. I'm going to use up this whole glue stick. I'm going to have to go find another one. That, I think, I'm pretty sure I knew where there's more, so. And it's not far, don't worry. Okay. All right, there's that. 2 more to go. I'm just gonna fold both of these so I don't forget. Can grab a bone folder and use that. It's a really helpful tool so you're not using your fingernails to do this all the time. Okay, we'll fold that one, walk it in. Okay. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to glue these. And then we'll do the edges. And then we'll play a little bit. I mean, this is great. I get super excited when I find, you know, great materials like this craft paper that they've basically just sent me for free because I ordered something else. You can get a little swamped with it. Right now I have a pile of boxes from things that we've purchased. And if you don't buy a lot of Legos and don't have a lot of Lego boxes, you could do this with a cereal box. You can layer them up and save 2 cereal boxes if it's, this is a little bit thicker probably than a cereal box would be. But if you save up 2, then you can glue those 2 together and use that, and it'll make a nice cover for you. And you can try this with different things. I had some nice, like, it was part of a packing material. I got it from work, and it was some glass labware stuff that we had gotten, and it came packed, and it had just sheets of cardboard, and I used that to make a journal. Only I think regular kind of cardboard boxes are a little too thick in my opinion, but you might like that, and they do kind of give a cushy kind of a feel to the journal too. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. I really like these. I think that this cardboard is really a nice thickness for this. So I think when this bends a little bit, it might come up here in the middle. And so, yeah, see, it kind of bows and stuff. So I like to kind of work that down into that crease so that it bends here and it doesn't pull up here. So that's all stuck down really nice. Just work that area where this book is gonna bend and crease. And that's fine. Just kind of want to get that stuck down really, really good. All right. All right, all right. I like that. This is very crinkly. The other one that I made was not quite as crinkly as this. So now I'm going to do the bottom, and then I'm going to do the sides. We're going to have some fun with those crinkles. Don't worry about that. I love junk journaling because you can upcycle all these materials, you know, empty boxes are getting used again for something else and something wonderful. Place to keep our treasures and our thoughts, and it's really great. So now I'm doing the bottom and working that into so that this folds nicely and the glue keeps everything down, and that looks good to me. Looks good to me. We're doing a great job. As we're doing this, this is just great. All right, a little more glue. We'll do this side. we go. Our wrinkly cover, it's kind of, that feels pretty stuck down, so I don't think I have to worry about that getting ripped off too much. It is a little looser here. That's okay. We're going to collage over the top of this, so we can just collage over that. Hopefully that helps. All right, last one right here. Okay. It's best to start in the middle and then go out to the sides and kind of push from the edge to the end. All right, we have covered this. So now we have this, and unlike yesterday, Endeavor, we can actually see where the front and the back is going to be. We can decide now. I think this is the front, this is the back, and we can see where the spine is. Can you see that? I think you can. Okay, great. Yesterday what I did is, because this is wrinkly, great paper, and I wanted to really honor that, and so what I did was I just rubbed an ink pad over the top in order to really bring out this. You don't have to do this, obviously, and we'll see if this even has any ink in it. Not really. I wonder if I have a re-inker for this. This is Stays-On ink. These were kind of expensive, and I've had them for years. I think I got this when I was doing some sort of a Christmas project. I'm gonna go find a newer ink pad that actually has ink left in it. I have something in a similar grain that I think will go with this. It might be fun to do a couple different colors on here, honestly. Okay, that's really good ink. It once it dries, it's permanent. It won't distress. Unlike the Tim Holtz stuff that I'm about to grab, which is made so that it will distress. This is Distress Oxide, and this is in Rustic Wilderness, and like I was saying, should be a very similar color. I am going to make this green because I feel like it. I mean, I largely just grabbed that other stamp pad because it was there. So this is fun. Let's go ahead and show you. I'm going to be very bold and spray this with water. So the thing with distress inks is these are water soluble, and so once you get these on here, and see, that just kind of gives that some color. You don't have to do this if you don't have this as a material. It's just kind of an extra bonus thing. If you do have it, it's fun. If you spray this with water now, this ink will move, and the Distress Oxide is different and will separate differently than the Distress ink will. Salvage Patina might like look really pretty on top of this, but both of these are distress inks, and that's what that means. This is really wet now. That I have sprayed it with water. Surprisingly, who would have thunk? So what I'm going to probably do is move into making the signatures and let this dry a little bit. Then we'll come back and decorate this, because I got carried away, as one does, which is good. That's exactly kind of where I want to be today, is just getting carried away. See if we can get some of this other color to stick to the top of this without hopefully Oh, this is fun. Okay. We'll see what else we can find to stick over the top of this now that this is really wrinkly. I did a much better job of smoothing the other one out. So we're going to see where this goes. But I'm super excited. I love this like brown craft paper like I used to use to cover my books in high school. Just kind of fun thing. And I'm going to get a paper towel. I'm going to grab some papers to do some signatures on the inside of this. Okay. Set that aside. Let's see if we got this. You could go ahead and cover this. I'm actually going to cut a little bit off of the top of this so it sits inside the book. You probably could cut it way down if you wanted to. Probably like an inch or so. But I'm just going to cut a little bit off of this. And I'm just going to use scissors to do it. That'll allow this is the hidden spine, remember, and this will allow that to sit inside here, very tucked in once we glue it back in. So I'm going to cover this so you won't see this, you know, Cybersaurus Rex anymore. Use some fun things like this. I have this graph paper. So I think I'm going to use some of this. And let's see what other fun things I can find. I will use some more of this. This is cool. This is for writing music. And these are exactly 8.5 by 11. And I like to tear these out and use this. I found this at a thrift store, and I bought another one online at Thrift Books. And it was not very much. So that's a great thing that I like to use. I'm just trying to find some really cool things. I might use some of this since I have that other graph paper. Maybe not that. Maybe... I have all these like pads of paper. I have this graph paper. Maybe that's too much graph paper. Let's leave this. This will be like a shorter page, which you can definitely sew that on the inside and it'll be good. A lot of times I use like, another nice thing is I have a whole bunch of coffee dyed paper, and that's really nice to use. Sometimes I have this whole box of like, sometimes I use cardstock that I have for scrapbooking, and that's really nice to use as well. Let's kind of break this down from what we have so far, and then maybe I'll see of some other things. I happen to have, let's maybe see if some of this will be cool in there. I have these filter papers that are round. These are big round filter papers that I got. I just kind of found these. You don't have to use something like this, but I want to show you how you can use something like this. And sometimes you can find doilies, like paper doilies at the dollar store, or even cloth doilies. And those can be kind of fun, and I think that that'll be cool if we put it up against like one of these yellow things, papers. So for this book, I'm going to do 3 signatures, and what I like to do, because these are all copyweight kind of papers, is I want to do 3 different signatures. So 3 sections, and I want them to have the same papers in them. So I'm just going to make 3 piles, and I want there to be 12 sheets in each one. You can do 10, you can do 15. You just want to make sure it's not too bulky. And I'll show you why, but it's basically when you fold these, it'll just fold together better. So I'm going to put probably, these are kind of cool too, where they're torn at the edge, and that would make a cool page too. It'll be kind of junky to begin with, even when you just first made the journal. And I'm going to put some of these, and then I think I'm really going to go and find, these are just, I bought this pack of paper that's got this, it's kind of a graph paper, but it's a very interesting graph paper. I might put in 2 sheets in each signature of this. I think it'll make a really cool background. And so I like to add these really cool things. So now I have graph paper, and I have this interesting diagonal paper, and so maybe I'm not going to use this. Maybe I'm going to find something else to use. You can use, people use lots of things. I do think I have some book pages, and when I deconstructed the book, I was able to deconstruct the book in such a way that it was like, so I'll show you instead of just talking about it, because I'm not sure I'm going to explain it. So I got this book, and it's a field guide for birds, and when I deconstructed it, I was able to get these pages so that they're still together. And I have before used this in a book and just had like an extra book page in there. And I think that that's really fun to just have this printed page. So why don't we do that? Because I can put one of these in each of these signatures too. And I think that'll be really fun. And this is going to be smaller than the other pages, and that's okay. This one, I think, has part of the index, and I bought this used, and somebody's like actually marked in it, which is kind of an interesting thing. What else did I say? I had buried under here. I'll show you how I use these filters to make kind of an interesting thing, and these are fun to decorate once you have that like in your book. And I'm just going to fold this in half and bind it in there just like it was another page. And I think I'll put 2 of these in each one too. So I think we're right now at 6, so we're halfway, and then this will make 8. And I'm just going to tear these out, and I like to leave these as a very interesting kind of a paper. And I've been collecting paper and keeping my eyes peeled for a long time, years and years and years really. So if you're out at a thrift store, you know, check out and see if they have anything like this. Or like I said, I mean, I bought another one of these on Thrift Books, and because it was running a little bit lower than I wanted on this, so I have a whole other one of these, and it's really fun, and I love to include it. So just keep your eyes peeled, and maybe you'll find some interesting things that you can include in your paper, in your books. I got just some regular white paper, nothing too exciting. Nothing too exciting here. This is plain white copy paper. However, I found this, and I've used this. I made a whole book out of this. I'll have to show it to you another time, but I think this is going to be a little bit more work, but I think because today I'm just really excited about using packaging paper for the cover. This is getting drier, so that's good. This is where our cover is. Let's check on it. Have a look. How's it coming? Great. Are you guys excited about this? Doesn't that look cool? Okay. Let's put a couple pages of this in there. Shall we? This is, again, more packing paper. I have this other journal. I want to pull it out and show it to you now. Is it right here? If it is, I am going to It is not. Okay. I will have to show it to you later. I haven't done anything with it since I made it, and it was a huge task to make this journal. I'm still looking. Okay, stop. Stop. Let's stay on task. We're gonna have to cut these down, but I think we're gonna make another signature out of this. And we'll just put 1 or 2 sheets of this in there, and it'll be super fantastic and kind of a fun thing that we can play with. And I think that'll be nice. I just got a big, this was again just packaging. It's a little bit light, but I think that it's fine to use. It's heavy enough that we can use it as a page. Let's see if we need this. Where were we at? I said we had 8. 9, 10, 11, 12 if we use the white ones. You can get lots of different printed things. I had some dot paper that I use, and I just buy like packs on Amazon. I don't think I'm going to use this today just because I don't really want to deal with that. I think we have other great ideas coming on. Sometimes I have, this is a jelly print. These did not come out that well. You can use jelly prints. And this is just, again, some paper that I got. We'll do jelly prints another day. You can add these. I frequently add those in as pages and maybe just put 1 per signature. It's kind of a fun little thing that's already included in your paper. So I think we are going to probably use 2 of these, and then we'll use that other sheets. We could use 3 whites and then just 1 of those. I like to do it this way. I like to make my signatures all the same. It makes it a little bit easier for me to build a signature if they're repeating, and I think it adds a little bit of consistency throughout the book as you're making it. I like to do it that way. You don't have to. You could like make 3 signatures and have them all be different. Sometimes I'll do something differently if I have 5 signatures, and I'll do 3 that are the same and then 2 that are different. That's just me. There's no reason why you have to do it that way. You do what feels right to you, but that's what feels right to me. So now I'm just going to start folding all of these papers. And when I do this, I do like to do it piece by piece and do them singly. You can do like several at a time if you want to, but I like to like get a really nice crisp fold, and I feel like that's a little bit easier if you do that 1 by 1. Did I say I was going to do 3? I feel like I should do 3. You can, and I have before, mixed like paper like this and like copy paper, weight paper is what I mean, and mixed it with something heavier like cardstock. I usually put the cardstock on the outside of the signatures, and I think that that's kind of a fun way to go. What I have been thinking about and trying to challenge myself to do is to kind of make more modern journals. A lot of what I do is like scrapbooking and journaling and stuff, and putting things in from like everyday ephemera that I pick up, not like stuff that I've gone out to the antique store and purchased, although that's also fun. But I feel like a lot of people don't have access to that, or maybe aren't interested in that aesthetic for having really antique-y journals. And I do feel like, I mean, when I first started and was looking at a lot of this stuff, I felt like I really needed to invest and kind of go over into finding these grandma's attic kind of things. And so what I'm really trying to do is move the journals that I'm making into this more modern style, I guess, of And I don't know exactly what I mean by that entirely. Maybe more eclectic, where I can kind of, now I have a lot of vintage things and I might be wanting to use those. That's that filter paper, and I'm just folding that in half. I'm probably going to try and put this up against like that yellow paper when I assemble these, because I think it'll pop out a little bit better. Having said that, I mean, some of this stuff truly is kind of a vintage thing, and like this is just a thing I bought on Amazon. It's really super not vintagey or anything. Do you guys try and make, I mean, step outside of the shabby chic feel that we use for junk journals all the time? And if you do, I mean, how do you do that? Do you build journals that are not super vintagey, antique, using things from the antique store? And these are cool. These are like from a lab notebook. That were just blank unused pages at the end. And I had at some point a whole bunch of these. I get super excited when I find things that's like, oh look, free and also interesting paper for me to use. So I wanted to fold these up and make these signatures before I try and make the pages out of this green leftover wrapping paper. You could make a whole book out of this, and like I said, I'm not entirely sure where I put that book right now, but I do have a book that was supposed to be kind of a nature journal for me that is made out of just this like packing paper, and this green paper was part of it, and all the pages are made out of this, and I don't think I ever made an actual formal cover for it. And I was thinking about just trying to like bind it together. And for that, I did spend a lot of time on that, and I had inked all of this. I spent probably a small fortune in ink. It's a very artistic, beautiful nature journal. And I actually have some leaves over in this. I might actually do some decorating in that with these leaves and applying the leaves that I have, and I might try and do some like leaf impressions. That's a great idea. I might do that with you guys in the coming weeks. I think that'd be great time, and just like super excited about it being springtime and it's getting warmer. It has been super rainy last week where I live, and I think we're still under a flood watch today. Even though it's been sunny for the second day in a row, I think it's supposed to start raining again. But that is spring. That is spring, and we have had a blustery spring so far. But we get like some nice days, we get a stretch of nice days, and we get a stretch of like really, really rainy days. It's just fun to have weather. It's fun to sit here and watch it out my window. Here. This is just really cool. But yeah, do you guys, I guess was asking a question about like if you guys ever do what you feel like are more modern, or what kind of journals do you guys like to make, or what do you prefer? I mean, do you make modern journals? What do you include in that? Or do you like the really super antique-y ones that you see on, you know, YouTube and Etsy that are really super filled with a lot of antiques and antique ledger paper and things like that? There's really no wrong answer. I mean, it's really just kind of what you prefer. And I guess my thing is I just like to use things that I have found and sourced, and I kind of get a kick out of that. I mean, it's just such a fun, it's part of like a huge part of the discovery for me is like, oh, This box that came in the mail is full of extra paper. Save that for me because I want to play with that, and it just brings me so much joy to like be out in the wild and find things that are beautiful and kind of lived past their purpose, and to like upcycle those things into beautiful journals where, you know, all of those things kind of come together and make this history of, you know, my life or modern day life, where you just have all these like elements coming together. It's just such a thrill for me, and I love that. So hopefully that is what you love too. But thanks for being here and sharing that joy with me today while I am just folding these papers to make the signatures for this book. All right. I feel like I'm kind of getting a little bit out of sight of my range here on these last ones, so you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, to the middle, to the edge. Okay, that goes there. Almost done. Hopefully our book is almost dry. I might have to stop this and finish this tomorrow. Have a bit more time before I have to do the next thing, right? Okay. We can just keep going since we're going to do this as a hidden spine. We could just do all of that and get it all ready to put in. I really love that this is kind of torn. And a lot of these papers are, because like these came out of a notebook that was a bound notebook, and I pulled those out, and these as well. So there you can see the edge where I tore them out. And I think that having uneven edges, I think, and even having these holes in here are going to be really fun in the journal, because it just kind of gives it a little bit of variety and splash. And you can maybe figure out a way, either you can just kind of see that this was something else, or you can use it as part of a design element, or you can, once you get into the book, I mean, there's just lots of options. And I think that these papers are all really great, and they're going to play really well together and add a lot of background and interest to the book, even though they're not like copy dyed, they're not like crinkly in the way that that would be. Now let's add this very different element. So now we know how big these are, and we can figure out how we're going to cut these. And they were, as I was storing them, just kind of like already like that. So I was kind of hoping, and I think is what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to put the ruler on here and tear these along where they're already like that. Now, I might leave this so this is uneven and it's not going to stick out of the top of the book. But you could make this a little bit taller and let it sit on the top of the book. But probably what I'm going to do is just tear this along here, and I'll have a little bit of waste that way, but I'm going to use where this has already been folded as a guide. And then I'm just going to make this as wide as these are. And these will be 5.5, because this was 11-inch paper and it's folded in half, so it gives us 5.5 inches. Do you guys like do all this complicated math while you're doing this and figure out like what halves are, and like, or do you guys just kind of go along and not do that? I don't know. This is like, I mean, this is like really graphy. I'd call this very masculine energy. It's very straight, linear lines, and this is going to be this other very soft, kind of feminine feel paper, and I like that contrast. So that should be about there. These do not have to be exact by any means. Probably is what I'm going to do is line that up there and there. Make it easy on me, so I've lined it up here instead of here, and that's going to probably make these more like 5 1/4 it looks like than 5 1/2. So these will be a little bit shorter and stay inside the book more. And that's okay. That is okay. And I'm going to leave this like uneven edge, so it would be uneven at the top, and I really love how this like looks great. That looks absolutely fabulous. And I'm going to go ahead and, so this should be like around 8 1/2 to keep it in the book, and you can measure it out like this. Watch that. And just tear that right there. So this will be, I mean, this page will sit inside the other pages. So it'll be a little bit smaller than the other pages, and that's fine, but it's gonna fit in there. When it goes in the book, it'll be like that, and it'll be very cool. And we have other things in here that are gonna be different sizes as well, like the book page, see how that's gonna fit in there, and this filter paper, and those will just be very interesting. And it gives it a lot of interest, and it makes it a lot of fun to flip through this book. And then, I mean, you can certainly like attach whatever you want to this. You could write right on those. It's heavy enough that it's not going to tear. And then, you know, I can save these things and use these as different elements throughout the book, and to use different elements as I'm decorating the book, and use it on different pages to kind of tie everything in. I think it's really fun. Or you cannot. It just gives it a whole different texture that's added. It gives it visual and tactile appeal, which I think is really fun. And this is a little bit more work, but that's what we're here for, to just kind of go with our ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is working for me really well, because I am going to have some of this that I'm tearing off, and it's just going to be extra. And I might actually go back and like where I have this extra slip of paper, just glue it down to like one of those other pages. Although I like this, I mean, see, I painted this green. I had no idea that we were going to go with this green paper on the inside, but it all matches, and you have these like extra. I'm so glad I went over to my closet and pulled this out anyway. I keep everything, and it's so that on days like this, I can be like, oh, I'm gonna have a bit of play. Like this would be fabulous just to make a border out of. Love to make borders out of interesting things and start to decorate these. I might do 2 of these, and I might do just one special one. Oops. That was messy. I should have done that a little bit before And maybe, I don't know. That first one tore really nice. This one I think is fine too, because like I said, this is gonna sit inside. And so the fact that it's kind of rough right there, I think we're just gonna let that be. Because, you know what? That's what I like. This is exactly what I like. Oh, that one's kind of small. And that's great. Let us count, shall we? 1, 2, 3. 10, 11. How special do we want this to be? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm gonna make 2 of these. I just decided. Okay, I just decided. These are all gonna go in my scrap pile. I might actually go back and put some of these in the book as I'm like going along. This is very, what is going on there? Okay. Might as well. I have this, it's out. Let's put some more of this in there. It matches the cover of this book. And this is starting to get a real feel all on its own. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's going to be a little bit smaller, and I think that that is going to be just fine. Hopefully the pages don't like completely disappear by the time I'm done here. I think just as I'm like folding, this was not folded, and I think the pages are getting shorter as I go along, because that one was like probably a full inch, just the way it was folded. Oh, the other thing you could do is make this, just kind of tear this in half and make a half page for some of these. I don't think we're going to do that. We're just going to kind of continue on the way we were. I'm just going to tear that bottom one here. All right, and I'll tear these, the tops and bottoms off at the same time for the next ones. Yeah, it's getting much smaller. As I go farther in, they're getting just smaller and smaller and smaller. So this is good. I'm glad I didn't decide to do more than, 2, because they would kind of just disappear down to nothing. But I think this will be fun to have this journal that's got just lots of different interesting papers in it as a basis. That will be the best. And I'm just going to line these up like that. And measure this again with my paper to make sure I have it kind of, well, it's going to be smaller. It's still going to be as tall. I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. Okay. You'll get the picture. All right. These really rippy papers are exciting. They're a little bit more fragile than like the other papers, but they're also just kind of like a really cool thing. So we are going to have these very kind of streamlined, clean papers, and then we'll have this other very different feel in here for a very different kind of a paper. All right, how are we going to assemble this? We need like a front page kind of a thing going on. What are we going to see first when we open this journal? That's a question that we need to kind of ask ourselves now. So we'll put those in. And sometimes I use these as the front signature. What I did in another book that I made was, I think I had, like, this could be the front. And the thing that'll happen then is if you put these on the outside signatures, when you open this up, you'll have two of these facing if you do them in the same way. And that makes like a full circle and be kind of cool. What I've also done with these is fold them in half again and put them on the bottom, and they can make like a pocket that's already sewn into the book. That is very interesting indeed. And then maybe put this here. Because see, you're going to see, because these pages are just a little bit smaller. See, these pages are smaller, so you can see this behind here, and it gives this great, really super interesting, I think, layering effect. And then because that page is kind of busy, I'm going to just put a plain sheet. Then I might put this yellow sheet. And then I might put my second sheet of this just in the middle there. And let it go against that yellow. And then maybe we haven't used any of this music paper yet. So why don't we put one of those in there? Okay. And I'm not worried too much. I'm just kind of like trying to get things situated where I want them. And then I might put this, and this is front and back. A lot of these papers are. Maybe I'll put this. And then I can put that plain paper up against this printed paper. There we have it. We have a signature, and it is a very interesting signature. And I think this is going to be an interesting book. All right. So what did we do? And like I said, I like to do these the same. There's lots of different ways you could do this, obviously. So we're building this. If this is the first signature, when you open the book, you'll have this is the second signature, and there'll be kind of a space, but you'll still have that like that. And you can either line these circles up or kind of leave them off kilter, which is going to be easier. I'm going to use this bigger sheet, I think, and leave that one in the middle. I don't remember exactly how we built this, because this is kind of a complex build, to say the least. Are you guys still with me? Sorry, I'm kind of mumbling, I'm sure. Now I am going to go back and forth. When I did this yesterday, I built these the signatures. They were a lot easier though. I think I stuck this next. I think that I just like wanted to have that laying on the yellow. And then maybe I did my first music sheet. I think. Okay. You can do what you think looks good together, right? Or you can just not worry about it too much. I probably worry about it over much. I just like it when it kind of repeats over and over. That is totally a me problem. All right, that is 2. And this will be the last one. Then we put a yellow sheet. Then we put just a plain white sheet. All right, that's what I thought. That is kind of how my brain would work. Exciting, plain. Exciting. Very interesting. Haven't used this yet. That's how I'm building these. This is kind of the thought. I think back to the beginning, because this is the first sheet that's normal. Something different. Something that'll go together. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. The only thing I don't like is that leaves these 2 relatively plain pages in the middle. But you know what? And then this is not that much more exciting, and it gives this like large, what seems to be inviting you to write on since it's lined paper. Do we want to change that? That is the question. I like, this is where the book's going to be tied, and I do often kind of leave it in a more plain kind of a setting, because I feel like in the middle of the signature I want to like leave that as a space, and this is totally and completely just me. I want to leave the middle of the signature as like a place, like a special reserved place to do something super creative. I don't know. That's just how my mind works and what I think about when I'm like, oh, you've reached halfway through the signature now. This should be a thing spectacular. So I'm going to leave you a lot of just blank space to do that. And the reason why I don't do really more than 12 is like, you can see when you've folded these, each one's setting closer to the edge, and so these kind of pop out like this. And what they do when they're making books is they actually cut this off, and you could round the corners. It would be really nice. I like to just leave it because I do, but you could tear this down with a ruler. I mean, I think they use like a bandsaw, and they just put this down and cut it right off. We can do that. We can do that with the, just to make these a little bit more. I'd like to have them ripped. But what I would probably do, just to be easy, would cut it off with the box cutter to here. And that would make everything very even. And that would also be really nice. And today I find that really appealing. So, you know what? That is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these so they're all really even because I just feel like I want to do that for this journal. I generally don't. But today, we're trying new things. We are trying new things. So I'm just going to line this up with this top sheet of paper. Make sure everything's in there. And I'm going to get my box cutter back out. And I'm going to stand up for this one so I can get, I'm just going to cut that all the way down until I have all of those pages nice and even for this. There you go. Now I'm going to throw all of that out. I don't know. I think with this graph paper, it's just making me feel very linear. It's an interesting place to be today. Because usually, oh good. See, it's still kind of a little bit torn because apparently my thing is not super strong, super sharp today. I'm going to do this today. So I do generally like leave them just different sizes and kind of poking out as it goes up in size, but sometimes I find that it's a little bit hard to like really grab the pages. I think this will make it a little bit more book-like when we're all done. And it's just a different feel. Just a different feel. And yeah, it's like tearing that page. Great. That's okay. I, again, don't mind. You could get a specialty kind of a ruler called a decal ruler and tear them and it'll give you a decal edge, which is sometimes if you've been around books long enough, you'll find that you can find that in books. I don't know how they do that when they make actual real live books. Keep going. We're almost done. We only had 3. So I'm just lining it up with that top paper as best I can. And coming down and cutting this close. There's 1,000 different ways to make a journal and all these different details that you can either include or exclude to make your journal your own and just use your creativity and do what feels right. And that might be different on every single day. You might try something one day and decide you really like it because I'm loving this, honestly. And another day you might not want to do that. And both. I love that it's kind of doing that. This one's much worse. I'm not sure I'm in love with that. All right. So we have made an attempt to make these all even, kind of, sort of, in our own way. We'll see if we like that. It's going to be messy because I cut off a lot of the things that I really liked. Okay. Great. I am ecstatic about that. Oh, it looks really nice, like when you're like looking at the whole book all together. We'll have to decide what to do about this right here. Right? Right? Okay. Anyway, that was fun. Use a sharp tool when you do this. What did you think? You just close that thing so we don't stick it into our foot or anything. Okay, I have pages. I have started a cover. we can now stick these in here and see. 3 should be fine. Let's not forget this guy. We need to cover this with something before we can go anywhere further. As we happen to have this, why not? She asked. I'm going to put that on there. Because it's perfect to cover this. So this will be where we attach our signatures to this. We'll attach our signatures to this piece, and then we'll glue this whole thing with the signatures into the book, and it's going to be a very fine thing. How are we doing this? Just like that. Okay. Doing this the same way as I did the book. Also just kind of making this up as I go along. What the best way is to do this. And then I'm just going to cover that up like that. I left this papery kind of side because I figured that the glue was going to adhere when I go to glue this into the book. That my feeling was it was going to stick better to this paper part than it would to anything else, to that really glossy printed side. Okay. So that's that. That will match. This will be nice because that's going to match this paper, which you're going to see at the same time that the book is open. You'll see this because this is kind of in between. So as you're going through and you're opening between these two signatures, see, you're going to see this paper. You're going to see it again in the background. I think that's going to be really nice. It'll give it a really nice finished feel. Thinking ahead. Look at us go. Okay. I was apparently in a really green kind of a mood today. I'm super excited about green most of the time. But today I am very, very, this is coming together. This is really starting to fill out. I will probably finish this tomorrow because I think I'm going to get off of here for today and go do some other things that I need to do. But I will see you tomorrow and I'll finish this. And so the page is in. It's going to fill this book really nicely. It's going to have a lot of room left for putting everyday ephemera or ancient ephemera, whatever you want into this book. It's going to be a really nice book. I'm super excited to find something to put on the front of this. See what we can find. Trees. I'm thinking trees. I'm thinking nature journal. I think that has something to do with the green. But we'll see what I can find. All right? All right. Thank you for joining me. And I will be back to finish this up.